Alright, still a kind of decent day in Kyoto. Starting to get a little bit darker, but yeah, I just wanted to walk around and share with you some thoughts. And I always think better when I'm walking, so I'm gonna want to walk. So I remember when I was 20 years old, I was working my first internship at a company called Demand Media, and I was really excited because it was a social media internship, and this is when like Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff was all the hot stuff. And in learning these things about social media, I wanted to become an entrepreneur, as I wanted to take risks. I wanted to essentially have more control over my life. I wanted to experiment, and I wanted to see my work get manifest in the real world. And when I say that, what I mean is I've always had the spirit of fun experimentation, and I always thought I had good ideas and I wanted to see them actually get done. But what was very frustrating to me for most of my life was opportunities where I wanted to do something, I wanted to experiment with somebody, but there was people who were naysayers or people who said no to me and who prevented me from doing it. And ultimately, my ultimate ambition in life is just to help empower other people, empower humanity, and of course I can't do that unless I first empower myself. So this is one philosophy that I heard a really long time ago. I don't even remember where I got it from, but then I think it's worth revisiting. Is this concept of it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. So, I mean, first of all, a couple caveats. It's not a perfect thing because I think sometimes in life it's actually good to ask for permission. So for example, in street photography, you don't always have to shoot candidly without permission. Sometimes it's actually good to ask for permission because when you ask for permission, you can interact with people, you can engage with them. And sometimes even when I see a person I want to photograph, I'm very nervous. I think to myself, okay, it's better that I ask for permission and get rejected than to not ask at all. So it's good to sometimes, in certain situations, ask for permission. However, there's a lot of other times in life where we're afraid, essentially. We want to take a risk, we want to try something out, but we're afraid that someone's going to get angry at us, we're afraid that, we might get in trouble. And ultimately this fear comes down to the sense that, and this is like my little recent epiphany, is that humans in modern society, we're domesticated, we're self-domesticated. Think about like dogs are domesticated wolves, essentially. And think to yourself, would you rather be a domesticated dog or a wild wolf? So obviously it's a philosophical difference. For me, I would prefer to be the wild wolf. Would you rather be the caged chicken in the coop, or would you rather be the eagle that spurns everyone else and just is awesome by itself? So I also feel that as photographers and as individuals, us as human beings, we're kind of the same thing too, is that we cannot let ourselves get domesticated by other people's expectations of us. And I'm not sure what your personal background is, but for myself, I kind of grew up Korean Catholic, and it's all about pleasing other people. And also in Confucian Asian culture, there's a saying, the nail that sticks out the most has to be hammered in the hardest, which means to do anything that's against the grain of society is seen as bad and evil. And if you read a lot of Friedrich Nietzsche, he talks a lot about how humans are essentially becoming self-domesticated, is that we're trading our wildness, we're trading our freedom, we're trading our ambition in life in order for security, for comfort. And it's actually sad too, because I think about a lot of modern society right now, and what it is that we want to minimize pain as much as possible. There's this Japanese philosopher, forget his name, but he essentially coined this concept of life studies, where he's saying that humans are essentially becoming like cattle. We're trading our own humanity to reduce pain as much as possible. I don't remember what he calls it, but it's something like pain reduction society or pain minimization society. And think about it, like all of modern day life, we're afraid of starving to death, and therefore we're going to trade our freedom in order for us to have steady jobs, for us to get food, for us to get a nice apartment. And then nowadays, even worse, we want all these fancy gadgets and things that we think will make us happy. And the philosopher Diogenes, original cynic / stoic philosopher, I think he had it right, is that what is the greatest human good, or what is happiness? And to me, it's just freedom. It's freedom to do whatever you want. It's freedom being able to live a life in accordance with what brings you joy. I also think that that's why I love being an entrepreneur. I love being self-employed, is that, obviously I'd be a lot richer if I became an investment banker or did something else like that. But to me, freedom and having the opportunity to create art, to have more control over my time, is actually a lot more meaningful and valuable to me than, essentially becoming a domesticated animal. I was just making sure that it's still recording. And also, not only that, but if we're always trying to seek for other people's permission in life, we'll never be happy, because we're always going to become the slave of the opinion of other people. We'll never really have the opportunity to ask ourselves, am I happy with the decisions I'm making in my life, and am I happy with what I'm making in my life? And so, once again, taking back to this concept of, it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission, I think it's still a good saying, because it just kind of allows us to take more risks in life, for us to be a little more bold, for us to be more aggressive, for us to try out things that we might have not tried out in the past. Because think about it this way, is that you could take a risk, you try something crazy, and obviously you're going to ruffle some feathers, people are going to be upset with what you do, but it's just know that worst case scenario, you could just beg for forgiveness. Oh, I'm so sorry, so sorry. So even when I was working at my old company, I ended up getting a full-time job there, and I had my buddy Jay, and I wanted to get him an internship to give him an opportunity. And technically, I was an entry-level employee. I wasn't supposed to hire interns, but I just kind of skirted around the bureaucracy, and I was super sneaky about it. And I essentially got him an internship, and it was awesome, because I got him the internship, and it actually ended up getting his foot in the digital marketing door, and he ended up getting a full-time job afterwards in college. And it was actually funny, because I was actually caught by my manager. My manager was like, wait, did you just hire an intern? You're not essentially allowed to do that. Essentially I got in trouble for it. But actually, even me getting in trouble ended up not being that big of an issue. And not only that, but I'm glad that I took the risk, because it ended up helping my buddy Jay. So even, you as an entrepreneur, or photographer, or a human being, whatever you want to call yourself, realize that you have so much infinite potential, you have so many good ideas, and unfortunately most of society are naysayers, because people are just risk averse. People don't like taking risks. Once again, most of humanity and modern day society is about self-domestication. It's about risk removal. People just want comfort, they want stability, they want predictableness. But us photography entrepreneurs, us risk takers, us street photographers, we're kind of cut from a different cloth. If you're watching this, I'm generally, you're probably interested in taking more risks. So once again, realize that worst case scenario, if you get in trouble for trying out something new or doing something against the grain, of course, realize you're going to upset some people, but worst case scenario, you could just say, oh, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, please forgive me, please forgive me. And most people will forgive you, obviously, and just know that you have nothing to fear. You're not going to die from it. And that's the first part. So it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. And the whole permission thing too is that you don't need anyone's permission to try out something. You don't need permission to go out and make photos. Just go out and just do it and just see what happens afterwards. Even if you want to start up your own company, you know, just start up by doing some freelance work. If you want to file taxes, just file as sole proprietor and just experiment, try something new. You don't know whether the outcome or the results are going to be favorable in your eyes, whether you'll be quote-unquote successful, but try to take more calculated risks in life by minimizing your potential. As long as you don't potentially go bankrupt from whatever you're going to do, it's going to be, I think, fine. I think it's a more rational way to do it. So once again, you don't need permission. You're already a photographer. Just do cool shit and become the best version of yourself possible. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace out.